We got to go all over Italy, and we were able to hop over to France, and a Southern boy from Tennessee who's really not been out of the country much. That was just so eye-opening.
Welcome into another episode of the Cutting Up Podcast. Today we have the co-owner, co-founder of Tread Beauty Lashes, yes, Justin
sir.
Treadway. How we doing, my man?
I'm doing wonderful.
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you finally.
Yes,
Heard
yes.
wonderful things.
Same for you. First time we've met, we've interacted. First time I've cut your hair. Dalton put us in touch here. I guess he does work with you guys, shoot some stuff for you and your guys' company.
Yes, he does. So had the pleasure of meeting Dalton 2 years ago. Is that right? Close to 2 years ago. Messaged him on Instagram, saw some of his videos. One domino led to the next. And now we've been working together for coming up on 2 years.
Incredible. Yeah. And we got a lot of hair. I overheard you just a little bit here talking about the first time you ever growing it out.
First time in a long time.
Probably
first time in 15, 20 years. Yeah.
How do you feel about it? Some days are better than others.
Some days are better than others. As you can see right now, it's looking a little wild. So you're going to fix me up.
That's what we're here for, right? So we're not cutting it all off, not buzzing it.
No. Not going the buzz route. Let's.
We want to keep growing it out, but we definitely want to put some layers, some texture, and make it a little easier for you to style.
100%.
Every day.
Yeah.
So a little bit off, a little bit of texture.
Dalton says you're the man for the job.
We shall find out, right? If not, you can blame him and not me, right?
That's right.
Sounds good. Awesome. So tell me about Tread Beauty Lashes, man. What do y'all do?
So it is myself and my wife. My wife is Stephanie, and she. So never thought I'd be in the beauty industry, right? So because of my wife and her passion for makeup and the beauty industry that she developed really since she was a teenager, kind of led us to where we are today. So we've been together now 8 years. And when we first met, she was doing nursing full time. She was doing travel nursing, but she was always side hustling, doing makeup for weddings, proms, events. And that was a big passion of hers. And she always worked to grow her social media. And long-term plan was to get out of nursing. It just wasn't her passion. Her passion was obviously the beauty industry.
Yep.
And so we moved to Nashville I moved there in 2016. She followed in 2017. And she was still a full-time nurse, but working really hard to kind of break into making makeup a full-time career for herself. She thought that was going to be through the realms or through the path of doing makeup for either, the music industry or doing full-time weddings or something along those lines. And we're sitting there. It was actually around Christmas time, and we were just having conversations about, our long-term vision for. Ultimately, we wanted to do something together. We've always talked about business and talked about just our vision for working for ourselves, creating our own schedules, creating financial freedom for ourselves, and traveling and living life differently than maybe the way we were raised.
Yep.
Is a nice way to put it. And we're sitting there on the couch and we're watching I think it was a Thanksgiving or a Christmas special, and the Pentatonics, which is a cappella musical group, they come on TV, and kind of jokingly, I say to my wife, I was like, what if you could do their makeup one day? Mm-hmm. And long story short, it wasn't 6 months, maybe 5, 6, 7 months, something like that go by. And she gets a message from their tour manager.
No way.
Asking her if they could meet and talk about potentially doing like a test run for them.
Okay.
And next thing we know, we get married in July of 2018, and 2 weeks later, she's gone for 5 months on the road with pentatonics.
No way.
Yeah. So it was definitely, it felt like God was smiling down and kind of winking at us.
Yeah.
And, saying, sometimes you never know what's coming, but it's crazy how things can work out in a way that sometimes you expect it, sometimes you definitely don't expect it, but it may be something that you desire. And,
Right.
So she's doing that and loves it. It is absolutely a once in a lifetime opportunity. And she definitely enjoyed every moment of it, creating memories. However, she missed being at home. And so the conversation still kind of went on, okay, well, how can she leverage this or move forward, in her passion for beauty and move away from nursing and us start a business? And so one thing leads to the next in those conversations. And we ultimately decided to, through her social media accounts and through her personal brand, build our beauty brand, which is a mix of affiliate marketing and now our personal lash brand, which is Tread Beauty Lashes. And it's false lash products. It's false lash tools, which, like I said in the beginning, I never realized I would be in that industry, but I'm very thankful for it. And I'm very thankful for the opportunities that it's allowed me and my wife to be able to work together, spend every day together, and build an audience and build a client base that is passionate about the products we provide and the solutions that we provide to them, but also they're really bought into our mission and our vision to really ultimately spread the love of Jesus Christ into everything that we do. And for us, that's providing top quality beauty products that allow women to step out into their day and just have that extra layer of confidence, and have that extra layer of boldness in their step to, we talk a lot about the most important thing we can do when it comes to a game plan for something related to business or finances or our health goals is the action. The plan is great to have, but the action is what's going to move us forward. And so if we can help women just take bold action in their lives, speak up when they need to speak up and have the business conversations that they want to have, or take the action that they're looking to take in their, I don't know, maybe it's a health goal, or maybe it's something related to just growing spiritually. All different areas of life. If we can help our clients just find that extra layer of confidence within them, then ultimately we're meeting the goal that we have for inspiring our mission and our customers.
Justin, you just killed that, my man. You talked about what are we going to talk about on this thing? What you just said right there, man, it's got me going, because there's literally 5 different paths I want to go down just from what you said right there. So we're going to veer off a little bit here. But first off, right, what you just said there, the confidence and inspiring people to be their best versions of themselves. Obviously, I'm in the barber world, but it's connected to the beauty industry, dude.
Yeah.
And it's 100% why I love my job and what gets me, it's not even a job, my career, my business, and what gets me out of bed every morning is that same feeling, because you can testify to this. There's truly nothing better in the world than knowing that you can give people confidence in themselves. You can help impact other people in what to some people is such a small way, right? Like it's just lashes, you know what I mean? Or it's just a haircut. It can mean so much more for that person in their everyday life. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and so
100%.
like I tell people a lot of times, I'm not selling haircuts, I'm selling confidence. Like if I can make you feel better about yourself, you like the way you look better, then that can go a long, long way, right? Our slogan right there, our iron sharpeneth iron, right? That's our goal, is that people come in the store and they leave here not only looking better, but being a better person. Like if the conversations that are had in this barbershop here can influence or impact somebody in any way, then that's ultimately the goal. You know what I mean? Is to make people better. And so I always give the analogy of like, you know, whether it's a job interview or if it's a date or something like that, those are the events where people will go and get a haircut, go and get cleaned up. Why? Well, not only do they want to look good, you feel better when you're that way. You're your better self when you have a haircut. Your best version of yourself is when you have a good hair. You have that confidence that can help you to walk into a job interview or help you to walk into a date or whatever it is. And so, I mean, you can testify to this, but how good is that feeling knowing that you can change somebody's complete outlook on themselves by providing them a service like that?
Oh man. You're crushing it there. I mean, if our mission, our purpose as business owners, as just people, is to love on other people and bring joy and peace to other people, and we can do that through our services or through our businesses or through the products that we provide, then we're attaching what we do to our mission. And at that point, it doesn't matter if you're cutting hair or if you're selling beauty products or if you're like Dalton behind the camera and you're filming. If you know what your purpose is and you know what your mission is and you're loving on people and you're trying to make their day better and you are creating a better experience in their day through whatever it is that you provide, such as giving haircuts or cutting hair the way that you do, and then you're providing that confidence, it's like, there's not a better feeling than that.
There's not. And I worked a 9 to 5 for a few years here, and I was doing some marketing and office management, and I didn't enjoy it, man. It was hard to get up and go and do that every single day. You know what I mean?
And it's not that there's anything wrong with that.
No,
but
not
that
at all.
It
wasn't for me. You know what I mean? And it's like, dude, I want to find a way where I can, you know, help people, you know what I mean? And make a difference, you know what I mean? And people can look back and say that something that I did impacted them. Like, that's the goal in life. You know what I mean? Like, if the shop, you know, comes out and makes a lot of money, that's great. You know what I mean? Ultimately, I do want to feed my family and I want to be able to have those freedoms. But at the end of the day, if this shop, you know, people can look back the same way that I looked back at the barbershop for me growing up, that's the ultimate goal. You know what I mean? If we can change people's lives or just help them to see themselves in a better way, then we've been successful. You know what I mean? I want to go back as well, because you talked about when your wife started traveling and doing it with Pentatonics and all that. Mm-hmm. What were you doing at the time?
So I was working, we were still in Nashville at the time, and I was working with I spent pretty much my entire 20s in sales. And at that time, I was in sales and project management with a construction company there in Nashville. And specifically, we did custom window and door cells. And we were working with general contractors, working with architects, managing the job sites as well, or not managing the job site, but managing the projects that for the window and door packages that we were selling, just making sure that not only were they getting the products that they had ordered, but that they were being installed properly, they were used properly, and that the client was getting the look that they wanted for their home. So that's what I was doing at that time.
Perfect. And let me ask you this question, because it goes back to, you know, we've said, you know, Jesus a little bit here, and we've talked about God and some Bible verses. And so it took me to a spot where one of my favorite verses in the Bible is, commit thy works unto the Lord and thy thoughts shall be established. My question to you is, during that period where you tell your wife, you're sitting there in front of the TV, you see the band and you say, man, wouldn't that be cool if you did that one day, to 6 months later, her getting that email, getting that meeting and becoming that person, during those 6 months, what happened? Because I think for a lot of people that want to become entrepreneurs, they want to start a business, they want to, you know, maybe they have a hobby that they really enjoy and they want to jump in. They have the thoughts of, okay, I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to do it. If I could do this, then that would open up this. But then there's never any action, right? It's just like, well, maybe if the sign comes along, you know, from God or, you know, the universe gives me this, then it will open up this door and then I'll be able to do that. But a lot of times, 99% of the time, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
What happens is you start doing the work, you get your butt out there and start trying to promote it, trying to do something. And then eventually it comes after that. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of times, especially like in the Christian life, we'll pray to God and we'll say, oh, you know, I want, you know, can you give me this, open this door or do this? You know what I mean? And a lot of times it just takes that step of faith first to say, okay, Lord, I trust you no matter what. I'm going to go ahead and do this. And then you normally come back around and then he gives you the desires of your heart later, right? So during that time, because you talked about it. You said, you mentioned it. 6 months later, it happened. I assume in my head, she didn't just sit around on the couch continuing to watch TV and doing nothing until that moment happened, right? So in that 6 month period, what's going on her end of it?
Yeah, that's definitely not her personality. She's a worker. So continued to do what we did at the time. She was working her. She was working her butt off as a nurse, and she was doing travel jobs, and she was also working a lot of night shifts. But any time that she had extra on the weekends or throughout the week, she was doing her best to fit in makeup tutorials, cutting and editing those, trying to get those up on her YouTube or her socials, responding to people on her socials, scheduling different wedding makeups or prom makeup. She was doing the grind, taking the actions that really just didn't change. And, you know, it's like you said a minute ago, oftentimes we may have a desire on our heart and we may pray that prayer, but it's easy to forget, like, we still have to go do the work.
Yep.
If we have the opportunity in front of us, we have a healthy body, a healthy mind, and we're creating connections and we're meeting people, and we live here with the freedom to be able to pursue our dreams and pursue building businesses and pursue the desires of our heart, we still got to do the work.
Yep.
And so the short answer is she kept doing what she always did. She hustled when she had the time to hustle, and she went to work as a nurse to make the money to pay the bills, and then got that little break. That little break just kind of came out of nowhere with the Instagram message. And sometimes that happens in life. Sometimes we catch a break and it catches us off guard, and it's after a season of working nonstop on something, and we don't realize the breakthrough is just right around the corner.
See, and you say it like that, and I get what you're saying, but to me, it's like, it's not just, it wasn't luck, you know, it wasn't just a break. Like, she was working her butt off, you know what I mean? I think a lot of people they say that same phrase, they just mean it differently, and they're like, oh, I'm waiting on my big break, I'm waiting on this, but they're not doing anything in the meantime, where they're not selling out to it. Like you said, she's working her day job, but then at night, she's cutting up and editing videos, you know what I mean? And a lot of people use that excuse, oh, I've got this day job. Now, if I could quit this job and go full time, then I could do this. And it's like, dude, you're not gonna be able to quit that job and do it full time until you commit to it now and put in the extra overtime, and then you'll get that break. But it's not really a big break or a lucky draw. Like, you worked for that, you know what I mean? And she grinded, and you guys grinded to get to that point, right?
Well, there's always a million reasons not to do something.
Yep.
And, you know, we talk about this quite a bit. Some of the most successful people, or people that you may look up to, whether it's in your specific industry or whether it's on social media or in business or whatever it may be, you may look at their life, or you may look at their situation and go, well, they must have had it easy because, you know, they're successful in whatever definition that may mean in the situation. And they don't really, you've not heard their story about what they had to go through to get there.
Yep.
And it's not that they didn't experience obstacles or things that could have become excuses or things that very much were valid excuses. They just didn't talk about it.
Yep.
They just kept their nose down, and they kept working towards the goal. And I think that's, you know, I think that comes back to purpose, and really knowing what your purpose and your mission is, and what your vision is, and then believing in yourself enough to know that whatever obstacles do come your way, you can get through it. You just have to keep pushing. You have to keep working. You got to be willing to put in the work. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, we're using the term break a lot. The breaks will come, but I think ultimately the compounding effects will come. the results will come. Sometimes it's just not in the timeline that we would expect. But
definitely. So let's talk about that a little bit, because like you said, a lot of people don't talk about that, right? They go on, maybe it's a similar kind of thing where it's a podcast, or they're doing maybe, a big meetup, and there's specific speakers that are talking about different things. And a lot of times people like to talk about their successes and the good times, right? Because those are easy, those are fun. But there are a lot of obstacles in business. How have you overcome, and you can either give an example, or maybe it's, a mantra that you live by, but when you guys reach obstacles, when you guys reach roadblocks in your company, how have you guys overcome those and fought those? Because I actually want to know from the husband and wife side of it as well, because that brings in its own aspect, because you don't know this. My wife, she's in the beauty industry. My wife does hair. She does women's hair. She's a cosmetologist. She works at a salon over out east a little bit, Fountain City area, and she does hair. And a lot of people are like, man, why haven't you guys come together and done something husband and wife related, a barber beauty shop mix and whatever. I'm like, man, there's a lot of headaches that come along with that when you're working together like that. Like, that takes a lot of work and a lot of, time. And we've just figured out, hey, probably best for our relationship, just from the few talks we've had about it, that we don't do it. So talk about that as well, as working through that with her and that aspect, because that's a unique one in and of itself.
Well, and there's nothing wrong with that. Not every couple is going to open up businesses together. And honestly, we didn't know what it would look like. I remember the day that I stepped away from, or my last day with the company I was working with in Nashville at the time. We had had a month in advance to prepare, and I'd spoke to my general manager, and he was extremely excited for me that me and my wife were going to start on this venture together. And day one, we looked at each other and we said, okay, what do we do? Like how's this going to, like, long term, how do we structure this? What do we do today, right? Because oftentimes we want to look at the end goal, we want to look at the result, and we forget that, like, the only thing in front of us is the here and now.
Yep.
And so we got to take the action today. We can't think about next week, can't think about tomorrow. We have right now. We don't have yesterday, and we don't have tomorrow. And so it was one of those moments where it was like, well, what are we going to do today? And I remember looking at how she was filming. At the time, she was filming her tutorials. She was duct taping her phone to a small round cosmetic mirror. And I was like, okay, I know what I'm doing today. I'm starting to get you a setup. I'm ordering you a tripod. And so that was the first step of millions, right? In the past 5 or 6 years since we've been doing this together now. You have to do to learn. And you're going to mess up, and you're going to do things the wrong way. Mm-hmm. It's what I've really been focused on over the past few years is creating the mindset of, okay, no matter what the situation is, I have control how I'm going to react to it. I ultimately don't have control over what the results will be, but I have control over my actions and the steps that I'll take, and I have control over how I'll react to it. And so me and my wife have a lot of those conversations, and it's trying to remain calm in the situation and just think through it in a logical manner so that her and I, one, don't kill each other and create some sort of, argument or rift between us as a married couple and as business partners. And it's just taking it for what's right there in front of us and trying to figure out the very next best step. Because, quite frankly, we all worry about stuff, but worrying gets us nowhere. It does nothing for the problem or the thing that's in front of us that we're worrying about. So the more we can, and that's much easier said than done. And we don't do that all the time, but when we can stop ourselves to, look at whatever the situation is in front of us that we're having to face or that we are worrying over, to just take a step back and have a relaxed conversation about it, to try to figure out how to best move forward in the situation. So that might have been a really long answer.
No, I love it. I'm a big control what you can control guy, right?
Yeah.
And my wife hates it. Like, she hates that I say that, because I say it all the time to her. but it's so real. And so a lot of times when she gets stressed out, whether it's a client or it could be not even business related, it could just be our relationship or something else, that has nothing to do with us, just something she's venting about, and she's getting frustrated. She'll work herself up. She stresses about things that are so far ahead or things that are out of her control. And I always go back to that and I say, you just got to control what you can control. Like, that's all you can do. Like, if you can't change it, then what's the point of stressing about it? You know what I mean? Like, find out what you can change and what you can impact and what you can do. And that's what you focus on and that's what you do. But if it's outside of your control, then you leave it to God,
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's wild how we think. It's wild how our minds work and how we're wired. And we often don't stop to think about how we think, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And I told my wife yesterday, we were talking about something. When there's a situation in front of us and we're experiencing a certain feeling or thought about the situation, sometimes we have to stop and detach ourselves from that specific thought and say, okay, why is this making me so angry? Or why is this causing me to feel this way? And analyze it for what it is so that we can understand how to move forward. Yeah.
So I do want you to sell us a little bit. We talked about the journey and what all you guys do and how we got there, but I want you to sell us a little bit on Tread Beauty and Tread Beauty Lashes and what makes you guys different, what makes you guys the premier lash company in the world,
Well, the best thing I can tell you to do and the best way to sell it is just go follow my wife. Go follow her on her social medias, because not only is she an expert in makeup application, beauty products application, but she has the experience and she's done it time and time and time again with makeup artists, with Grammy-winning musicians, with weddings and bridesmaids. And so she has the 10 plus years of experience, and she knows what problems women face. Specifically, with our lash brand, she knows what problems women face when it comes to lash application. And so when this whole process started of us designing the products and designing the brand, the big question we had to ask ourselves is, what's the issue, right? What's the customer issue? What's the consumer issue? Like, what do her customers face when it comes to the application, when it comes to the products actually lasting, when it comes to the products not irritating the eyes? And so from a design standpoint and a creation of the product, that was a whole year before we even launched. Mm-hmm. And so the time put in to make the right partnerships and create the right relationships to produce our one-of-a-kind custom lash products was a process that we're very proud of, that we've gone through and we still go through with our new products. And ultimately, we just want the end user, we want our customers to look at our brand as a resource for, like we were talking about earlier, a resource to go get products that can help them feel more confident and walk out the door and go crush their day. So the short answer is just go follow my wife, because she'll teach you everything about all of it. But the design that goes into each product is me personally, that's my favorite thing about the process, because we get to test things, we get to try stuff out, we get to spend as much time on it as we want before we ever launch it to our customers, which the beauty in that is we can perfect it before we put it on our website and before we do announce it. So
follow the wife.
Follow the wife.
Follow the wife. And where do we find your wife?
So my wife is Tread Beauty. It's Tread Beauty, Beauty. Did I spell that right, Dalton? Is that good?
Sound good.
Okay. So that's on Instagram. It's Tread Beauty. Her handle is Tread Beauty. Her name is Stephanie Treadway. The lash Instagram is Tread Beauty Lashes. And then you can also find Stephanie on Facebook, Stephanie Treadway, or you can look up Tread Beauty as well there. And we are now, thanks to Dalton and HMG, really starting to produce our content for YouTube and for TikTok and for, I think Pinterest is another area that we're going to start moving into as well. So we're really just trying to organically meet new people, meet new customers, and get out there on those socials.
So you brought up, obviously she worked with Pentatonics there. And so I assume through this journey, you've got to go to a lot of different places and it's led you to meet a lot of different people. Give us maybe either your favorite destination or the favorite person that you got to meet, really the favorite experience you've had on this journey, traveling around the world. Dalton told me, obviously he went not too long ago with you guys to Arizona. That was a pretty cool trip. So give me your favorite experience this whole journey has brought you.
Oh man, that is a great question because we have had, we've been blessed to be able to go to some pretty amazing spots. I would definitely have to say Christmas in New York in 2018 with the Pentatonics was just an absolutely amazing experience. I love New York. I love Christmas time. And so to be up there and then be with like the most notorious Christmas group, the Pentatonics, that was a lot of fun. We just had the pleasure of traveling to Europe, and that was a completely brand new experience. We got to go all over Italy, and we were able to hop over to France, and a Southern boy from Tennessee who's really not been out of the country much. That was just so eye-opening to meet, people from completely different countries, completely different cultures, and just create new relationships and just see, the beauty in nature across the world that God's created. That's probably forefront of my mind because that was our most recent trip. So that's the two answers I would give you on that.
Perfect. Listen, Justin, I was throwing you an alley-oop. You were supposed to say your favorite celebrity you ever met was Dalton.
I should have. Well, are we still filming?
Yeah, we're still filming. There we go.
We are. All those experiences, but the coolest celebrity I think I've ever met was this guy named Dalton Bradley.
You met him?
He was in Phoenix, Arizona.
What? Tell me about him.
He was filming and he was just cutting the videos up and just producing top-notch quality content. I mean, it was incredible.
It's going to be the only clip that comes out of this episode, by the way, just so you know. Dalton's clipping that and posting it. All right, my man. You ready to check this out?
Let's do it.
Play with it, style it a little bit, but...
Oh, yeah.
With ink right there, my man. So still a little bit wet, but kind of got some texture in there for you, some different layers.
I like it. Yeah, when I blow dry it, I'll
hold that
like
right there.
fluffer too.
Yep, play with it a little bit, move it around, feel it. Tell me what you think there.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it was getting a little too long. I needed to.
So that should make it a little more timid. Like I said, if you want, if you don't want to see all the texture and you just want to brush it down, you can brush it down like that and you don't see any of it. Or if you want there to be some texture in there, just
kind of mess it up a little bit.
Kind of poof it out like that and it'll look like that. So
same thing up front.
Yep, same thing in front. Yep. I mean, and you can do that too. I wanted you to kind of do that one yourself, but same thing there. Yeah. So it took honestly, the most length probably came off the top just so because that was what was coming down to like right through here and kind of taking away your
you can see how weird it is. It's like short right here. And
so
it's funky.
But I figured you know how you want to style that top. Yeah. So I'll just let you do that yourself there. But
thank you, sir.
Appreciate you, my man. Looks short enough for you, or you wanted any shorter anywhere?
No, that's good.
You think that's a good length right there?
Yeah, I didn't want to take too much off.
Yeah, so you can style it, you can play with it. Before we get out of here though, go ahead one last time, plug all of your guys' socials, your website, whatever it is. However, people want to get in touch with you as far as, ordering or finding your wife. Where do they find you guys and all that?
So our website is treadbeauty.com. And you'll see once you go to treadbeauty.com, that's our complete lash website. To follow us on socials, we are Tread Beauty Lashes on Instagram. And on Facebook, it's Tread Beauty. And also on Instagram, if you want to follow my wife's personal blog, personal tutorial page, that's Tread Beauty, TREAD Beauty.
Perfect.
Good.
Justin, thank you for coming on, my man.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. We will see you again, same time, same place next week. Peace out.